A new book due out tomorrow makes shocking allegations about Senator Obama's background, and it may have made his campaign a bit nervous. From Barack and Michelle's 20-year-long relationship with Trinity Church, to Obama's family connections to Kenya, to his dealings with, well, Bill Ayers, the unrepentant terrorist. The author aims to expose what he says is the real Obama. Joining us now in an exclusive interview is the author of The Obama Nation, Leftist Politics and the Cult of Personality. Dr. Jerome Corsi is with us. Welcome back.
Thank you, Sean. Great
4
to be
years
back.
ago, 2004, you and John O'Neill launched right here on this show,
That's
your
right.
first TV interview.
Correct.
Unfit for Command. The Swift Boat Vets for Truth.
That's right. It was our first television interview, and our first radio also was with you in the afternoon, just as today.
And I warned you then, and I'm going to warn you now. All these leftists out there, you know, are going to do what they did the last time and attack you for daring to examine his record. You ready?
I'm ready. And, you know, Sean, if they attack me, they're not answering in what's in the book. I've been researching this book since 2006. There's over 300 pages, 700 footnotes. And I'll stand by the truth of every statement in this book.
All right. Well, if I were to break your book into categories,
right.
You talk about his background.
Yes.
You talk about his youth.
Yes.
You talk about his radical associations.
Right.
And there are many of them, which you believe influenced his viewpoint.
His politics, his formative views, and his current positions.
And then you move into his current positions and where he stands. And it is a picture that you're painting of a radical leftist, socialist, a guy that believes in redistribution, that has basically, these views have been shaped and formed from his youth.
That's right, including being a Saul Alinsky organizer. And Saul Alinsky was a radical leftist organizer who said that his goal was redistribution of wealth from the haves to the have-nots.
Walk us through those three phases, from his family to his radical associations to his views today.
Well, even in his family, I do a great deal of analysis of the autobiography.
Now, that's his father, right?
That's his father. And his father, you know, Obama first presents his father as a great hero. And the truth was, his father was a polygamist and a alcoholic. He had abandoned a family in Africa when he met Obama's mother in Hawaii. He married Obama's mother without disclosing he had not divorced this African woman.
And by the way, in fairness, you don't. I would never hold it against him.
I don't either.
The actions of his father, but you're giving a historical perspective.
Well, first of all, Obama put the issue on the table and analyzing it and making it the core of his autobiography. And I'm first criticizing that Obama was not straightforward in how he presented really a deception about his father as this goat herd who got this chance to go to come to study the United States because of John Kennedy. John Kennedy had nothing to do with his father coming to Hawaii. It was Tom Mboya. And I tie it to Obama's current politics. Obama is still today involved in the politics in Kenya, supporting Odinga, another radical socialist, running for president as recently as December 2007, with Obama supporting him, despite Odinga signing a memorandum of understanding with radical Islamicists in Kenya.
You raised just now Saul Alinsky. Of course, Hillary Clinton has famously identified him as somebody who's been very influential to her. She grew up in the most middle-class, sort of normal American family, Republican family, actually. I mean, she's not a radical. I mean, why does it make Obama a radical?
Well, Saul Alinsky was a radical.
I understand that, but I'm saying you could actually read Saul Alinsky and not be a radical.
I don't see how. I mean, here Saul Alinsky is saying that Machiavelli wrote the Prince for the haves to keep what they have, and he wrote rules for radical for the have-nots to take it away. He dedicated rules to radicals to Lucifer. And Obama taught Alinsky methodology.
Do you believe that Hillary Clinton is a radical?
She was in terms of her following of Alinsky. And I think Hillary, you know, this book is not about Hillary, but I think Hillary has moved much more to the center. Obama, I think, at core, remains the Saul Alinsky community organizer. His politics are still about redistribution of wealth. And that was the core Alinsky principle.
And so when you describe he's a radical leftist, what does that mean?
It means, you know, the extreme socialist objectives that were, for instance, in Saul Alinsky, or his mentor in Hawaii, Frank Marshall Davis,
or
in
Malcolm. Mentor.
Yes, but it was very deeply influential in Obama's formative years, and he says this at length in his autobiography.
But he's probably developed since high school, don't you think?
You know, certainly in college, his mentors were Malcolm X and Frantz Fanon, a radical anti-colonialist writer. Then he joins the Black Liberation Theology Church. Black Liberation Theology Church, and on this show, Obama's people were, Reverend Wright was challenging Sean. You have to have read James Cone. Well, I've gone and read James Cone. I've read James Cone for a long time. I've been writing about these issues for decades, and James Cone's whole idea was that Jesus Christ historically was black, really an African Palestinian who opposed the colonialists of his day, the Romans, who were occupying Israel.
Okay. We're going to be right back. And we now continue with Dr. Jerome Corsi. I was looking at the back of your book, and the blurb on it says, after an Obama presidency, we would be a militarily weakened and economically diminished nation. And to me, that sounds like what happened under George Bush. So, what is Barack Obama going to do? We're already in an economically diminished situation.
Well, I focus on, for instance, Barack Obama did this short clip in which he said he was going to not invest in new military programs. He was going to have that money go to social causes. He's had this whole idea he was going to disarm with nuclear weapons, yet he has no practical plan for that except to say we're going to move in that direction. His pulling out of Iraq. I mean, he boasts that he was the first to want to pull out of Iraq, and that anti-military type of position is consistent if you look back at his politics even in Illinois, and if you look back at his history.
But what you just described, to me, are fairly conventional Democratic positions, and yet you're casting them as these far-left views.
Well, I will agree that most of the Democrats in Iraq have wanted to pull out. Obama was, viciously opposed to the surge, and Obama was wrong on that. Again, it was the instinctual position of Obama is to be anti-military, and he's had a history of doing that, and I'm pointing out, for instance, his whole willingness to divert money from military development purposes to social purposes, which is, I quote this video.
Hey, I love this stuff. And by the way, you mentioned this show and the interview with Wright. And a number of things. So we've been covering this. You talk at length, and in the short time that we have, about the radical associations. Did he lie to America about what he really knew about Ayers and Wright? He praises Malcolm X, Blue-Eyed Devils, white people are Alinsky. Did he embrace people that he knew were radical?
In a simple word, yes, he lied.
He lied.
Yes. He has full, total knowledge of Malcolm X, Frantz Fanon. He writes about it at length in his autobiography. Complimentary.
Right.
Ayers, Axelrod, as chief strategist, said, well, they live in the same neighborhood and their kids went to school together.
Not true.
Not true. Obama's kids are young kids.
Yeah.
Ayers' kids are grown. Obama chose Ayers knowing he was exactly who he was, a radical terrorist bomber.
You go into Obama's far-left domestic policies, income redistribution, his Global Poverty Act.
His support of abortion, even late term.
After a child was born.
Child's born, Obama in the state Senate wanted the child killed if the mother desired an abortion.
But you talk about how this campaign is being run. The American people, you call it the cult of personality. But are we being victimized by a marketing campaign? You say David Axelrod is orchestrating,
this is what
choreographing.
Axelrod does. He creates a cult of a personality and projects this image so that issues are never articulated.
But he's been particularly successful at it in spite of his thin resume, radical associations, poor judgment.
And the whole projection, what Axelrod does is he borrows liberally from others. Deval Patrick's campaign up in Massachusetts, that Axelrod was one of the, so this whole just words. I think, Sean, sometimes that Obama is auditioning for the role of Neo in the next Matrix movie. We are the ones. This is the time. It is our destiny.
Bumper stickers, slogans, all these platitudes.
Si se puede. That's Cesar Chavez, and it's borrowed directly from the organization of the farm workers.
Is he going to pull this off?
4 decades.
Is he going to be able to successfully pull it off?
Obama's going to lose, and Obama's going to lose. I say in the book, not because of the character issues are important because they shape and inform the policy issues. Our campaigns are about policy issues, and when it gets down to the income redistribution, ending the capital gains tax, all these social issues, the anti-military issues,
Jerome
these
Corsi,
are policies that the issues will decide
We need more detail. We're going to have you on a part 2 tomorrow, a special edition of Hannity's America. We're going to give you a sneak peek of that coming up straight ahead.